Hi there, welcome. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'm Daniel. I'm the filmmaker behind The Hunger Was Our Companion. In German, Der Hunger lief mit. This video explains, everything that needed to happen to make this film possible, so stay tuned. First of all, thank you so much for all of your kind messages, your support, your likes. 20,000 views in a couple of days. I didn't expect that. For me, that's a huge number. What I want to share with you is how this film was actually created, because a lot of people reached out to me and I thought, instead of answering everyone separately, I can also upload a new video and share it with the whole wide world. So a little bit of a backstory. In 2011, the film was actually part of my bachelor's thesis back then. When I had to choose a topic for my final film, I thought, well, this could be interesting. We shot the interviews in a couple of days, shooting with elderly people. We didn't want to cause too much strains on them, so we had a little conversation basically in advance, getting into the topics and then interviewing them for an hour or 90 minutes and then coming back the next day and continuing to get all of this story from the moment they grew up till they arrived in my hometown. I have a total of 18 hours interview with both ladies. So it is accumulation of footage, and the edit in total took me 3 months back then, and we transcribed all of the interviews. And remember, this was in the day where transcription software did not exist. I sat down and transcribed everything word by word, and that was really a pain in the... So I had this booklet, the transcription, so this is, I don't know if you can see that properly, all of the interviews transcribed. I marked it, labeled it, color-coded it, so I knew exactly where to find which parts, and this is how I paper edited the initial version of the film. And I started to generate on paper first this narrative and then transferred that basically into the edit. It took me 3 months, horrendous amount of work. I mean, you know everything they said word by word afterwards, so which is really good for yourself as an editor, but it takes ages. The finalized version in 2011 or in 2012 was 45 minutes. It went to one film festival, but none film festival actually picked it up. Because what I didn't consider back in the day was no one wants to show a 45-minute film of an unknown filmmaker that shot a film about his grandma, even though it is very nice and very emotional, but I don't want to talk so much about film festivals. So it was a failure. The film then was living on DVDs. You remember these? I burned them myself back in the day and printed out these labels, and we felt like, wow, this is great. This is ancient. I think majority of you out there, especially the younger ones, I have never touched one of those. And I made it. I burned it by myself. Very proud. So I had all of these at home lying around and thought I could sell them maybe, and nothing was happening. And then life goes on and you forget about it. And then fast forward to 2019. I was always thinking about, should I touch it again? Should I open the project again? I gained so much knowledge then, working as a filmmaker, working in production houses, being exploited to so much more knowledge about filmmaking and everything, storytelling. I thought, shall I touch it again? Never found the time to do that. But then in 2020, there was this thing happening we all know about. And I all of a sudden had a lot of time. So during the first lockdown, I thought like, oh well, this is now the moment where you could actually use this time and re-edit this film into a version that is told in a better way, in a more modern way, and it also is a bit shorter because 45 minutes, it's tough on everyone. So I sat down, I opened the project, and it was all cut in Final Cut Pro 7 back in the day, and that was the first issue. I had to transfer everything into Adobe Premiere. It worked. I found an old laptop at work which had still Final Cut Pro installed, could open it, did an XML export, and it went pretty well, I would say, from what I can remember. So then got it into Adobe Premiere, and then I could start to re-edit it. So what I did back then, I was structuring it into a 3-act structure, and it helps you quite a lot to get a storytelling structure a lot of people are familiar with into this mass of footage a documentary can be. I went through the transcripts again it all started to make sense. I had some issues with some interviews because they were not talking proper German. I mean, they were talking German, but in their dialect. Can you imagine how difficult it is and make a sense out of it? One night I woke up and thought, okay, you can do an animation with archival footage, do a lot of chopped interviews underneath the animations, and you have all of this information condensed without showing their faces. Brilliant. This is basically the beginning third, this animation where they're plotting their escape. Bit by bit, while I was working on it during lockdown, all of these influencers came in. I sent it to friends, got some reviews, and the only thing that then was missing was to get more archival footage. When the pandemic was over, or at least the first bit of it, I reached out to archives in Germany, and it was incredible. This time frame from 2011 to 2020, the digitization that has been taking place within the archives, that made it possible for me also to search online for pictures that was basically not possible during the first installment of that film. I also physically went to archives and reached out to private persons, and I'm so thankful to them supporting me with that. Without this archive footage, the film would not be what it is. Everything came together bit by bit, bit by bit. I tried to think about a distribution strategy during that time as well. I uploaded to Vimeo on demand, and I realized to break even, I need so much money in marketing and so much time in marketing, or both, or one of the other. After trying to get this distribution strategy into place, I just decided, yeah, share it with you guys on YouTube, and that was probably the best decision I could have made. Now this film is out there, people can watch it, and it already has inspired many people, it already has touched many people, and this is basically what this film should be all about. Remind my generation and the younger generation, especially in terms of food and wealth and consumerism, that there have been harsher times our grandparents have lived through, and that doesn't only count for Eastern Germany or for Germany, it counts for every place on this planet and still counts for many, many people up to this day. I hope you like it. I hope you like this little introduction of how these things are happening. Sorry that it's only in English, but I can reach much more people when talking in English instead of only talking in German. If you like to hear something more about certain points in the making of this film, let me also know in the comments. Leave a like, leave a subscribe. I don't know if it's actually here or there. It's the first time I'm doing this. I hope you enjoyed this little introduction into Der Hunger lief mit. Bye bye.
Ein Glücksfall, dass dich gab.